আসতে পারে। Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today is Lord Varahadev's appearance day celebration. Lord Varahadev ki jai. Trying to find the verse. So second canto. So we will be reading one verse from the second canto, which is scheduled incarnations, which is like the beginning of this pastime. Yeah. And then we'll discuss few points. I looked yesterday a little bit. I found some interesting points in this pastime. Then we'll be reading the last verse of this pastime to conclude. So it's not written, so I'll read it myself. So the
can follow if you can give us.
Okay, this is second canto,
Okay.
chapter 7 is text 1. But still, nobody will be repeating, I guess, no? Okay. Thank you. Brahmo Vacha.
Brahmo Vacha.
I think that's it for you, because it's a long verse.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Yatro dyatakshiti talo dharananya vibrat. Yatro dyatakshiti talo dharanaya vibrat. Kraudim tanum sakalayagamahimanantah. Antar maharnava upagatamadidetyam. Tam damstrayadrimiva rajadharo dadhara. Can you repeat word for word? Brahma Vacha. Lord Brahma said, Yatra, at that time, when Udyataha attempted, Kshititala, the planet Earth, Udharanaya, for the matter of lifting, Vibrat, assumed, Kraudim, pastimes, Tanum, form, Sakala, total, Yagyamayim, all-inclusive sacrifices, Anantaha, the unlimited, Antar, within the universe, Ma'arnave, the great Garbha ocean, Upagatam, having arrived at, Adi, the first, Daityam, demon, Tam, him, Damstraya, by the tusk, Adrim, the flying mountains, Iva, like, Vajradaraha, the controller of the thunderbolts, Dadara, pierced. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Lord Brahma said, when the unlimitedly powerful Lord assumed the form of a boar as a pastime, just to leave the planet Earth, which was drowned in the great ocean of the universe called the Garbhodaka, the first demon, Hiranyaksha, appeared, and the Lord pierced him with his tusk. Purport. Since the beginning of creation, the demons and the demigods, or the Vaishnavas, are always the two classes of living beings to dominate the planets of the universes. Lord Brahma is the first demigod, and Hiranyaksha is the first demon in this universe. Only under certain conditions do the planets float as weightless balls in the air, and as soon as these conditions are disturbed, the planets may fall down in the Garbhodak ocean, which covers half the universe. The other half is the spherical dome within which the innumerable planetary system exists. The floating of the planets in the weightless air is due to the inner constitution of the globes. And the modernized drilling of the earth to exploit oil from within is a sort of disturbance by the modern demons and can result in a greatly harmful reaction to the floating condition of the earth. A similar disturbance was created formerly by the demons headed by Hiranyaksha, the great exploiter of the gold rush. And the earth was detached from its weightless condition and fell down into the Garbhodak ocean. The Lord, as maintainer of the whole creation of the material world, therefore assumed the gigantic form of a boar with a proportionate snout and picked up the earth from within the water of Garbhodak. Shijadev Goswami, the great Vaishnava poet, sang as follows: Vasati dasana shikare dharani tavalagna shashinika lanka kalivani magna keshavadrita shukarupa jai jagadisha hare jai jagadisha hare jai jagadisha hare. O Keshava, O Supreme Lord, we have assumed the form of a boar. O Lord, the planet Earth rested on your tusks, and it appeared like the moon engraved with spots. Such is the symptom of an incarnation of the Lord. The incarnation of the Lord is not the concocted idea of fanciful men who create an incarnation out of imagination. The incarnation of the Lord appears under certain extraordinary circumstances, like the above-mentioned occasion, and the incarnation performs a task which is not even imaginable by the tiny brain of mankind. The modern creators of the many cheap incarnations may take note of the factual incarnation of God as the gigantic boar with a suitable snout to carry the planet Earth. When the Lord appeared to pick up the earth, the demon of the name Hiranyaksha tried to create a disturbance in the methodical functions of the Lord, and therefore he was killed by being pierced by the Lord's tusk. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, the demon Hiranyaksha was killed by the hand of the Lord. Therefore his version is that after being killed by the hand of the Lord, the demon was pierced by the tusk. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur confirms this version. So we often hear about this pastime combined. Usually, sometimes we hear that Lord Varaha appeared white, sometimes red, sometimes that he killed Hiranyaksha, sometimes that he just lifted the earth. So I was making some research, and the explanation is that there are actually two incarnations of Varahadev appearing at different moments. And the Acharyas have combined. Maitreya Muni, who is speaking here, Maitreya is speaking to Vidura, and he is combining actually the two incarnations. one is one incarnation. The white boar is appeared at the beginning of the creation. It was the white incarnation, and it appeared when Lord Brahma actually was in his process of creation. He was the half of the planets were submerged in water, in the water of devastation, as it happens all the time when Brahma goes to sleep. And in the morning, Brahma has to clean up the mess. He has to organize everything again. And so that time, Brahma is actually is a bit confused because he sees the earth is there, it fell in the Garbhodak ocean. So he meditates, and when he starts to meditate, suddenly a small boar the size of a thumb, of his thumb, appears from his nostril and goes flying into the air, and it starts to expand, becomes huge, and then he's more confused even, and is you can imagine he's like thinking, what's going on? This creature appeared from my nostril, now it becomes so big, and but then Lord Varaha starts to roar, and when he roars, everybody can understand. Yes, like this. They can understand that this is actually Vishnu. He's reassuring all the great sages present and Brahma that is Lord Vishnu. So and then he goes and dives into the Garbhodaka ocean, and he takes earth on his tusks and lifts it up and put it back in its right place. So that's the first version. First, this happens during Svayambhuva Manu. Svayambhuva Manu, and the second one happens during the Chakshusha Manu. This is much later in the day of Brahma, and that time, that's when actually again the earth is in the Garbhodak ocean, and Varadev, because of the misdeeds of Hiranyaksha, and at that time Varadev appears from the ocean and leaves the earth, and there is the fight between Varadev and Hiranyaksha. Then Varadev kills Hiranyaksha and puts back the earth, puts back the earth on this right place in its orbit, and then kills Hiranyaksha. So, like this, it is explained that Maitreya is combining these two incarnations. Another explanation why, how they can conclude that this killing of this battle with Hiranyaksha and Varadev doesn't happen during the first. It's not during the first incarnation of Varadev in the Svayambhuva Manu, because at that time Svayambhuva Manu had no sons yet. So there was no question of Hiranyaksha. Because the story goes, actually this pastime takes a few chapters from the third canto, like 3 chapters, It's quite a long pastime. Huh? Yeah. No, first part of the third canto. And it's actually a pastime which is also related to Nishingadev, because it's explained that Hiranyaksha, as you know, he was the son of Diti. Diti was one of the daughters of Daksha, and Kashyapa Muni, her husband, was the son of Marichi. Marichi is one of the sages, the first Prajapatis, who appeared from the mind of Brahma. Daksha appeared from the thumb of Brahma. And Daksha had many daughters, many sons, many daughters. And one was Sati, of course. No, Sati was his wife. But one was Diti, one was Aditi. And when they asked them to choose their husband, 10 of them wanted to marry Kashyapa Muni. So Kashyapa Muni is actually the father of the Daityas, of the demons, and he's the father of the demigods as well. And they're all brothers in one sense, actually. Or cousins, you could say, half brothers. And so Marichi, he was the father of Kashyapa Muni. And one time, Kashyapa Muni was meditating in the evening, in the twilight. He was in samadhi, and suddenly Diti became agitated with sexual desires, and she disturbed the meditation of Kashyapa Muni. She wanted to have a relation. She wanted to have a son. So Kashyapa Muni said that's not the right time, but she was insisting, and so he was preaching. There's quite a long preaching of Kashyapa Muni in the third canto, when actually it is said that he was trying to gain time to go over this inauspicious time. I read yesterday. It's called Gantika. It's actually this twilight inauspicious times last for 2 Gantikas, which are 2 times 24 minutes. So it's quite short, but it's like almost an hour. And I read also this Gantika, those one way they could measure time during the in Vedic India, because during a sunny day you can just put a stick in the earth, and then easy to know what time it is, you just make lines on the earth. But when it's cloudy, how would they do? So they had this thing called Gantika Patra. Gantika Patra was a pot, with a small hole, and they would fill it up with water and put lines inside the pot. So when the water would go down, they would know what time it is, according to where the lines were. So she tried, and finally, he had to agree, and that's why, she actually gave birth to these 2 demons, and Hiranyaksha was actually was the first to take birth, but it is said that the eldest one was actually Hiranyakashipu, because when twins are conceived, the one who is it happened to me, because my sister, I'm born at the same time as my sister, so I'm born after her, but it means I'm the eldest actually. Because you go deeper in the womb, you take the first place, and then the second one take the second place. So he comes after. He comes first out. Mm-hmm. So Hiranyakashipu came second, but it is said that because the father actually puts the semen in the womb, and the father has the most important place in the couple. So actually according to the father is the first son. So there was these two sons, and we know the story that actually in relation to these 2 sons, 2 incarnations appeared, Nishingadev and Varahadev. So I took few notes yesterday. I looked, and I took few things which are actually I thought were interesting. Oh. So some notes from the prayers, and there's actually notes also from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. He says, "He who thinks that your actions are limited, though your actions are unlimited, is the greatest fool. Since you bewildered the whole universe with your Yoga Maya and Material Maya, O Lord, bestow your good fortune on us, so that we can know you as much as possible. And he says, this is Brahma speaking, how much can we describe your pastimes? Though we have knowledge, we do not know completely even a drop of the ocean of your pastimes. Others are more unfortunate. He who thinks he knows the limits of activities of you, the unlimited, is foolish. The sages answer by saying that Jivas bewildered by Maya may not know you, but my devotees beyond Maya, such as Narada, should know me. Maybe that's an argument that, okay, maybe the conditioned soul, they don't know the glories of Krishna, but at least the devotees, they know the glories of Krishna. The sages answer by saying that those in the spiritual realm are bewildered by Yoga Maya, and those in the material world are bewildered by ignorance, a mixture of gunas. So your spiritual devotees are bewildered by Yoga Maya, since they are submerged in your sweetness. The others, material jivas, are bewildered, since they are submerged in material happiness and suffering. Thus, who can know the end of your activities? Therefore, bestow good fortune to us and let us know as much as we can. We should not be falsely proud of thinking we know everything about you. So, in other words, the devotees, they don't know the limit of the glories of Krishna, because they are actually submerged in the sweetness of Krishna, so in the Yoga Maya. And because of Yoga Maya, they forget that Krishna is the supreme, and they forget the glories of Krishna. And the conditioned souls, the jivas, they are submerged in the three gunas. So there is no way they can know anything about Krishna. So in this way, nobody really knows Krishna. And when Maitreya is questioned by Vidura regarding this incarnation, he answers, "O warrior Vidura, you have inquired well about the story of the appearance of the Lord. What you ask is the cause of freedom from the rope of death for all human beings. Asking with a desire to hear about the pastime of the Lord's fighting is very good, because through that question you are asking about Varaha and Nishinga. In explaining about these avatars while describing the Lord's fighting, you make others successful through remembering the avatars." By hearing Narada recite this story of the Lord when he was young, Dhruva, the son of Uttanapad, placing his foot upon Dev's head, ascended to the abode of the Lord. So this detail, is actually the pastime of Dhruva. As you know, when the Vishnu Dutas appeared, he had to step inside the airplane, transcendental airplane, and he didn't know how to. There was no step, so he saw the death was there, so he took opportunity and he stepped over on Dev's head to get into the airplane. And here it is said that he could do this because when he was instructed by Narada Muni actually told him about this pastime of Lord Varahadev. So there is this pastime when Hiranyaksha, this great demon, he just starts the fight with Varahadev, and at one point the club fell from his hand. But it is not the same as his bow falling from his hand in the fight with Shalva, where other motives are inferred, because Hiranyaksha was actually an associate of the Lord, and thus equal to the Lord. They had equal strength. So we remember that, of course, Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu are giant Vijay, so they are actually eternally associates of the Lord, yes. Thus it was possible for the club to fall from the hand of the Lord. Without equal strength, there would be no pleasure in fighting. So basically, here it is said that the associates of the Lord, they are almost as powerful as Krishna. Thus this action increased the enthusiasm of the Lord to fight. It is thus an ornament of the Lord, not a fault, since the Lord, filled with love for his devotees, many times accept the fight. And the demigods, when they saw this, that Hiranyaksha, with his club, he almost, he put the Lord Varahadev into difficulty. They started to say, oh, what's going on, And they said, be careful, because again, the auspicious time, there's a lot of auspicious, inauspicious time in this pastime. It's going to pass, and then, the demons, they become more powerful at twilight, so hurry up, But it is said, there was so many, when Hiranyaksha was fighting with Varahadev, that started to be so many bad omens. The sky became devoid of constellations because of the mass of clouds filled with thunder and lightning, which rained burst, hair, blood, stool, and urine continuously. And because at one point Hiranyaksha, he also lost his club. So he thought, now I'm going to use my fists, my hands, to fight Lord Varahadev. So he started to punch, Varahadev, and he wanted to grab him in his hand, in his arms, But although he grabbed him, when he looked, there was nothing. He was outside, And of course, it is said that nobody can, the demons, they cannot measure with their arms, with anything. They cannot measure the size of the Lord. The Lord he can become as big as the universe. So Prabhupada in one class, he says, try to dress the universal form, So, but he can become as small as a small Shalagam Shila, a small stone also. He's unlimited, he can become as big as the universe, the Lord. But he can become, of course, he can even become smaller than the atom, but he can become a small stone in the form of the Shila, as we have here on the altar. And, he can stay in a box with his devotee, And Prabhupada says, Shalagam Shila worship means, you open the box and you wake up the Lord. And what he said? He said, you give him food, worship, no, puja, close the box, sleep. Then open box, do puja. And then Prabhupada loved, he said, this is Shalagam Shila worship, close the box, sleep, open the box, puja. Like this. They don't have a box. Doesn't have a box here, he's staying on the altar. But especially for the Brahmanas, who carry their own Shilas with them. So this is actually, we are fortunate to have actually the one form of the Lord here, which is non-different from this huge form. The huge form is showed to Brahma. Another interesting point, he was glorified, Varahadev, because it is said that he delivered, of course, Lord Brahma from his confusion by killing the demon. And he was compared to Vishnu, Narayan, when he appeared to deliver the elephant Gajendra from the crocodile. It is said, what to speak of delivering the elephant from the crocodile? He delivered the elephant even from the material world. So when Shri Krishna appears, he delivers the devotee from the immediate danger, but at the same time he also delivers him once and for all from the material world. Because when one problem is over, another will appear anyway. One after another. This is the nature of the material world. Giraj Maharaj, in one class, he makes a good analogy. He says that, just like we just read that Hiranyaksha, he drilled the earth, and wanted by taking all the gold, all the the earth planet lost its balance and fell in the Garbhodak ocean. Prabhupada says this about the present drilling of the of the petrol, gasol, and actually they know this because they put salty water instead, I think, under the earth when they take this the oil. Yeah, they fill up with salty water.
It's called fracking.
Huh?
Fracking.
What
It's
means
the technical term for this.
Oh, okay.
They actually crack the bedrock.
Okay.
That's what they do.
Yeah.
Not a, that's one technology, and you can imagine what it does to the earth.
Yeah. So Giraj Maharaj says, just like the earth lost its balance, and fell in the Garbhodak ocean. He said we are also, in one sense, every one of us, we are like a small planet. We could say a small, small planet, and we have to be careful to keep our balance, not to fall down in the ocean of material existence, in the ocean of material ignorance, and he's making this analogy that we have to be careful, because in different ages, like we read this pastime, of course it's in the beginning of the creation, so there were planets of demons, planets of demigods. Of course we know in Kali Yuga, demigods and demons, they live in the same body. We have the demigod side, we have the demon side, and we have to be careful, because there is always this fight going on, as Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj was saying, that these two dogs are fighting together, the good dog and the bad dog, and which dog will win the fight? Actually, which dog, the good dog or the bad dog?
The one we feed.
The one we feed. Yeah, that was the answer. That if we give food to the to the bad dog, he will get power and become more powerful, and finally, he will become victorious, and the same for the good dog. So this actually this food is, and this balance is the practices of Krishna consciousness, starting from associating with devotees. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gives the description of the Bhakti Lata beach, and he says that these offenses, they are compared to a mad elephant which comes in the garden and breaks the whole garden and uproot even the Bhakti Lata beach. So he says we have to put the gardener, the devotee, he has to put a fence around this Bhakti Lata beach, and the fence is association of devotees. When you stay with devotees, you can realize where you are at. When you are outside, when you're living with non-devotees, materialistic people, you don't know where you are at. Actually, even if you are the lower you'll go, the more they will glorify you. You're doing good, you're doing well, So, as soon as you come in the association of devotees, things become very clear, So this is actually the way, and we have to be careful and keep the balance with all these practices, like favorable practices and unfavorable practices of Krishna consciousness. So that was the point. There is also a pastime in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, maybe I'll end up by reading this pastime, of the Lord appearing to Murari Gupta in the form of Varaha. So I'll just read it. It's quite short, actually. It's from Chaitanya Bhagavat, Madhya Lila, chapter 3. One day the Lord heard the pastimes of Krishna in his incarnation as a boar, Lord Varaha. Roaring, he rushed to Murari Gupta's house. Lord Chaitanya has a special love for Murari Gupta, just like Lord Ramachandra had a special love for Hanuman. When Lord Gaurachandra arrived at Murari Gupta's house, Murari Gupta received the Lord with great respect, offering obeisances to the Lord's lotus feet. The Lord hurried past him, shouting, "Bore, bore, Shukara, Shukara." Murari Gupta was left dumbfounded, looking all around him. The Lord entered the temple room of Lord Vishnu and saw a beautiful water pot standing in the corner. Just at that moment, the Lord took the form of Lord Varaha. Absorbed in this mood, he lifted the water pot with his tusks, and roaring loudly like a boar, he stood there with his 4 hoofs. The Lord ordered Murari Gupta, "Offer prayers to me, Murari." Murari remained dumbfounded. Amazed by this extraordinary sight, no words came to his mouth. The Lord then said, "Speak up, Murari, speak up. You do not have to fear. Don't you know my supreme identity?" Trembling with fear, Murari pleaded with the Lord, saying, "O Lord, you yourself know how to glorify yourself and offer prayers. Lord Anantashesha, who holds the entire creation on just one of his hoods, has manifested 1,000 mouths just to glorify you. Yet he laments that he cannot find the limits to your glories. Who is more capable than Anantashesh to glorify you? The entire material universe follows the instructions of the Vedas, yet these very Vedas are unable to fully reveal your transcendental absolute nature. I have heard that there are an unlimited number of universes in this material creation, and that they all emanate from the pores of your transcendental body. You are the fully independent supreme autocrat, and you are always blissful. How is it possible for the limited Vedic literature to describe the pastimes which you perform according to your own sweet will? Therefore, O Lord, only you know yourself fully, and others can know you only if you reveal yourselves to them through your causeless mercy. What ability do I possess to offer you prayers and glorify you?" Saying this, Murari Gupta fell flat on the floor, offering obeisances to the Lord. Lord Varaha was pleased with Murari Gupta's words. Then, expressing anger at the Vedic literatures, he spoke out loud. "The Vedas have the audacity to say that I have no hands, no legs, no mouth, and no eyes. There is a mischievous sannyasi living in Kashi who teaches his students. That rascal tries to mutilate my transcendental form. He studies the Vedas and teaches others, but he does not accept my transcendental form. As a result of such blasphemy, he was attacked by the dreaded disease leprosy, but he could not understand the import of it. I am the Lord of all sacrifices." This is what we read all the time, that this is the personification of all sacrifices, the form of Varahadev. The Supreme Lord Vishnu. There are no imperfections in my transcendental form. Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva are always engaged in glorifying my supreme transcendental position and nature. A mere touch of my body can spiritualize and purify everything. Yet that rascal is so insolent that he proclaims that my transcendental form is non-existent. Carefully hear my opinion, Murari Gupta. I will tell you that which is not manifest even in the Vedas. I accept the incarnation of a boar to lift the material world out of the waters of nescience. Know me to be the ultimate goal of the Vedas. The purpose of my present incarnation is to propagate the congregational chanting, this is of course Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of the holy name of Krishna. In this incarnation, as in other incarnations, I will annihilate the miscreants for the protection and pleasure of my devotees. I cannot tolerate my devotees being threatened and tortured. I will even kill my own son to protect my beloved devotees. This is not a lie, Murari. Listen attentively. In my born incarnation, when I lifted the earth, Mother Earth became impregnated by my touch. She gave birth to my son, named Naraka, who was very strong and powerful. I gave my son all religious instructions. He became a very powerful king and dutifully protected the demigods, brahmanas, spiritual master, and the devotees. However, the hand of destiny changed everything. Due to the influence and bad association of King Venu, he became a criminal and was cruel to the devotees. Any aggression or violence towards my devotees is totally intolerable to me. So I killed my son to protect my devotees. I'm revealing all these confidential matters to you because you have been serving me for many births. Murari Gupta was overwhelmed by the Lord's presence and narration, and he wept with joy. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. So I'll just finish by reading the conclusion of the last verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, concluding this pastime with the blessings of hearing this pastime. If I find it. Okay. Etan maha punyam malam pavitram dhanyam yashasyam padar ayurashisham pranendriyanam yudisaurya vardhanam narayanonte gdati angashinvatam. This most sacred narrative confers extraordinary merit, wealth, fame, longevity, and all the objects of one's desire. On the field of battle, it promotes the strength of one's vital organs and organs of action. One who listens to it at the last moment of his life is transferred to the supreme abode of the Lord, O dear Shonaka. And I read a small purport, small paragraph. Devotees are generally attracted by the narratives of the pastimes of the Lord. And even though they do not prosecute austerities or meditation, this very process of hearing attentively about the pastimes of the Lord will endow them with innumerable benefits, such as wealth, fame, longevity, and other desirable aims of life. If one continues to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, which is full of narratives of the pastimes of the Lord, at the end of his life, one is sure to be transferred to the eternal transcendental abode of the Lord. Thus, hearers are benefited both ultimately and for as long as they are in the material world. That is the supreme, sublime result of engaging in devotional service. The beginning of devotional service is to spare some time and listen to Srimad Bhagavatam from the right source. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also recommended 5 items of devotional service, namely, to serve the devotees of the Lord, to chant Hare Krishna, to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, to worship the deity of the Lord, and to live in a place of pilgrimage. Just performing these 5 activities can deliver one from the miserable condition of material life. Shivara Dev ki jai. Anybody wants to add something? Some details, some...
It's about c'est à propos des Daitya, des Danava, leur création, leur naissance. J'ai vraiment cru comprendre qu'au départ, ils n'étaient pas des démons, mais qu'ils le sont devenus par la suite. Dans quelles circonstances en fait?
He's saying that he heard that when the demons took birth, at first they were not demons, but they became demons.
Particularly the Danava and the Daitya.
Well, at least in the case of Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, they were demons from birth. That's for sure. I don't know about the others. Somebody has heard something about this? The demons became demons only after something happened. The Danavas. No, I don't know.
The Danish people?
Sorry?
Is that the Danish people?
Danish people. Vikings. No, I don't know probably. But they are really the same family, huh? the same father actually, and they're fighting together. Anything regarding Lord Varadev? Somebody remembers something he wants to share?
I remember I read that actually Varaha was so powerful that everybody was under his control. And Lord Varaha, although he's the Lord, he had to enter like a shadow to come to the fight. But then I have a question. It's so horrible, the Lord coming as a shadow. So demoniac is everywhere. It's just like, nobody make a statement on this. Like, the devotees that sometimes also come in that way. But I had one wonder because Lord Varaha is getting married to Bhumi and Lakshmi Devi also. Do you have any stories about that?
No, I just know what Prabhupada just said now, that, just by lifting the earth, he impregnated the earth just by lifting the earth, Bhumi, with his tusk, because Angani Yasya Sakalandriya Vritimanti, he can do anything with any part of his body, and so impregnated, and she gave birth to this Naraka demon. So, yeah, that's eternally, the Bhu and Shri, they are eternally the...
So that means Bhumi, she's, as the consort of Varaha, she's eternal.
I don't know. I guess that's an expansion of her, Bhumi. I heard also that, what's her name in Krishna Lila? The hunchback? Kubja. Kubja is the earth, actually, is an incarnation of the earth. I heard this, So, and Krishna has, again, some intimate relation with her as Kubja,
And Varaha has white hair.
White hair and red, and even I read that they say some say black hair also, some incarnation. Like
And he smells
Shveta
like,
Shvata.
just by smelling him, you just go like in trance.
Yeah. And I read one purport yesterday where it says that he appeared sometime also as half man, half boar.
It's like half man, half boy.
Sometime in India, the deities, you cannot really figure out what type of animal it is. Even I think in the Yoga Pit, there is a deity of Varahadev. And in the back, the small temple. After there is a small square temple in the back in the courtyard, and there is a deity of Varahadev. So I think there will be a Abhishek. 10 o'clock. Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shivaradev ki jai, and Gaura Premanandi ki bol.